So here we are, the wife's tank update, and looking a lot better, and we'll talk about some things. So, she's got the plants planted. I realize there's a glare, it's a sunny day today, but you know, we got a Pontigeton bovinianus, we've got some Vesuvius there that, you know, struggling a little bit, might be planted a little deep, but you know, we'll let her learn. We've got some wisteria and some myaka. So we kind of do the pan here. I've got my air pump unplugged because there's an additional light. But we got Java fern in the back. We've got more wisteria. And we've got Madagascar lace in the back there. And some African fern. And yeah, that's what she's picked out so far. She also confiscated, I'll say, the mutant mouth goldfish. And it has now been named Mojo Jojo, apparently. And he gets to live here because he's got a mouth that's so small he can't really eat anything else, and no one's picking on him or anything. And so it's working out pretty good. It's been about 4 or 5 days. And so for lighting, I've been waiting for her to want more lighting. She finally does. And we put a Fluval light on this side, kind of running front to back. And that's kind of why it's got a nice, kind of more crisp, clear, wider look. Whereas over here we have the shop lights running lengthways and it's more of a yellow look. And so now I just gotta bite the bullet and buy some more lighting and fix that, because it was a little dim over here just using 2 shop lights. And you know, but I'm looking forward to see how this grows out, and I know she is too. And you know, she's gonna learn you know, stem plants, easy to grow, problem being when they get to the top of the tank, she's going to have to trim them and stuff like that, but she can learn all that. And, you know, what I do find interesting is she knows how much I love Anubias. There's not a single Anubias in here. So we'll see how the tank evolves, and she wants more fish but hasn't gone to get any more yet. So, yeah, stay tuned. We'll chime in with the fish room update. So I'm doing some maintenance on the goldfish tank. I'm going to install a Fluval light and remove these 2 lights. I think I'm going to get a better overall color in the tank here. Doing a water change and things like that. So we'll see how this goes. And you know, I've got a few more projects I want to get done. I don't know if we're going to get them done today, but I want to try making some new filters and things like that. So, you know, once I get this done, or at least filling and stuff like that, I'll move on. I also want to see if I can do a before and after. So this is before I swap out the lights, and it's got 2 of the shop lights. Which is about a $50 cost, and then we're going to swap it for $180 or $185 or whatever it is cost, and see what the light and stuff like that is as well. So, you know, just compare it. So now I've got it with the new Fluval light. Definitely a different color overall. I like the color overall. Not quite as bright. I wonder what kind of par I'm getting down at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and test that now because I'm waiting for water to drain anyway. So it looks like with the par meter down in the center, I'm getting roughly 32 par, which I think is going to be great for this tall of a tank. I don't remember how tall this tank is. I want to say it's 26 inches tall, because I think my thing I made here is 2 feet tall. And so at 26 inches tall, it does pretty well. And even if I put it up here at the front, I think that's what this light excels at. So even though we have the light in the center, you know, my par is still 34. And if I was to go all the way to the back, and this tank is, I want to say, 22 inches kind of front to back. If I put it all the way at the back, so it's not getting quite as good back there, but my hand's also blocking it. Getting 18, not bad. So my hope is, by not having to run both those shop lights to get coverage, I'll grow less algae. And I've really been growing a lot of algae on the front here that you can see up here. Lots of algae that I don't particularly like cleaning. And so I'm hoping changing the spectrum of light, and then also changing the amount of light and the way in which it spreads, is going to help. I like the way the goldfish look. They look a lot better under this light, so that's already an improvement. But we'll see long term, you know, in a month or so, how it's doing for the plants. I mean, it should be an upgrade, honestly, but you know, we'll see how that goes. All right, still working. Got the goldfish water change done. Want to move on to the next thing. I was answering some email. That's typically what I do between projects, is emails, YouTube comments, that type of thing. And I got 2 different comments today, so I thought I would address this. And that is, you know, one guy wants to know, when is iron coming out? When am I going to release an iron product? And the other guy said, you know, loves Easy Green, but doesn't contain iron. That's not true. Easy Green does contain iron. It doesn't contain high levels of iron because this product is developed to, you know, kind of handle low, medium, light tanks, you know, where it doesn't need very high levels of iron. Now, that being said, I do have a product being developed that will come out with iron, and you can buy that also, but I just wanted to clear that up so that, you know, because I guess a lot of times they say like, oh, it's not, you know, if you have tons of red plants and you know, really high light tanks and injecting CO2 and stuff, you're going to need to dose iron in addition to that. That being said, there is iron in this product and it works well for most people. But I am developing another product to add in addition to that if you needed it. It's, you know, we're waiting on packaging and labeling and UPC code, and there's, you know, there's all these things you have to do. Even if you have a product, you're like, oh yeah, I could totally sell it, but you gotta do all these little things beforehand before you can actually sell it. And that's where we're at now. And to those of you who don't know, I don't have it right in front of me, but the 2-liter bottles of Easy Green hit the website last night. I put it on while I was editing videos and stuff, so, you know, that's available. And basically how that comes is you get like 64 ounces or 65.3 or something like that. It's like buying 4 of these, but you're only going to pay the price for 3. So it's kind of like buy 3, get 1 free. And so I think that's going to help some people out, and we'll see how that goes. You know, I'm not expecting it to be like a huge seller, just because, you know, not that many people need, you know, the 2-liter bottle treats 10,000 gallons. Now, if you run an entire fish room, that makes a lot of sense. But if you're just a normal person with 2 or 3 fish tanks, maybe that doesn't make some sense. But, all right, well, I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then I got to grab the equipment to be doing it. But my next goal is to pick up this net, apparently. I don't know why it's on the floor. But I need to drain the water out of this so that it can move. Like you kind of notice, there's nothing plugged in here anymore. This is, you know, its own self unit at this point. You know, even this hose right here, it's cut, it doesn't go to anything. So this could move, and what that means is when that can move, this can move, and when this can move, it goes into that corner, but I gotta run the pipe behind it, and once this wall is plumbed, I can throw these 2 racks in there, and in theory, by the time you've seen this video, I've already picked it up probably, but in theory, a couple days from now, Saturday, yeah, 2 days from now, I'll have picked up a 135-gallon acrylic to go down low there. We're gonna do a build out down there, and that's gonna be one of the low tanks, and there's gonna be 40 breeders on the rack itself. So that's in the pipeline, and then I've got, you know, put in more 40 breeders on the other racks. I've got another rack that matches this, and then also, I don't know when, it could be this weekend, next weekend, whenever it is, but I've got a 240-gallon, if you've been listening to live streams, I've been talking about that, 240-gallon that I'm buying, that I gotta pick up, and that might go, I don't know where that's going yet. It's either going along this wall somewhere, which, you know, requires me to free up room, or it's gonna go in the cold room over here, but I don't know where it would go yet. Like, I could put it down the center of this, but I think I might put more totes here, so I can do more goldfish and things like that. So I'm not sure where it's going so far. Definitely leading in the other room would be the most likely where it's gonna go, but I just love coming over here and looking at the fancy goldfish. So yeah, okay, so now I gotta drain that thing, otherwise we're never gonna get anything done. So I'm getting a hose and draining. Well, and by draining, I mean I'm actually gonna pump that water through some of those green water tanks, so maybe we're gonna look at the dough-by and stuff like that. Well, I've finally done it. The impossible. Okay, maybe not, but I've never gotten Breeder Award Program points for this. I finally bred Convict cichlids intentionally. Now, if you guys remember, I bought 6, and then I lost one like right away, and then I thought, oh man, I think I only got 1 female, and it was kind of a bloodbath, and I was down to 2 fish, and I was like, well, that one, the water was green, so I couldn't really tell is that a female or isn't it? So turns out though it was, and I was able to pull it off thanks to green water. So even through my neglect, I was able to set up the tank correctly at least to make it happen. So if we look here, you know, Dad's super, you know, super protective. There's Mom that was small and just went away. Now yes, the water is green, but it's also ridiculously good for fry. And so you can see the fry kind of bumbling around the bottom there. Now I just got to make sure they get some fry food, and I can check off breeding convicts on my list. Like, this was not like a, you know, a huge win, but when you run the BAT program and you say like, oh, I've never intentionally done it. Don't get me wrong, I've made thousands of convicts working at stores on accident. Like, it is kind of an add water, will breed fish. You know, that being said, I had never been able to do it intentionally. I always worked with harder strains, you know, like the marbles and stuff like that, and I could just never get it to work. Now we've got it. Now all I gotta do is feed them. And, you know, that's why I run a fish room. I love to stumble upon fry. My favorite thing is to set up a tank and go, I think this will do it. I'm gonna set it up this way, which, don't get me wrong, I didn't set it up a ton. There's a sponge filter. I let the water go green. I got some on my forehead here. There's water. Let the water go green. And then I put in a little, like right here, I put in a little stone divider basically so that the female could get away from the male if it was a female, just to break up the line of sight. And that worked. And so it's that easy for someone to pull that off. Now, I'm hoping to do the same thing with the fire mouse and other things like that. And, you know, I'm probably not going to breed convicts long term, I'll be honest. I just want to get my BAT points and move on, and maybe, you know, just show it in video that I can do it. You know, not that anyone's going, wow, this guy's amazing, he managed to breed convict cichlids. But I saw it from across the room and I go, wait a second, I see fry? And so then I had to come over here, and sure enough it was, and I had to go get the camera. But I was just about to change out tons of water so I could get a good look in there. And I'm gonna change out tons of water so I can get a good look in here. Now, I don't expect any breeding or anything yet because these guys are too young. But I thought, well, why not change a bunch of water, try and get this to clear up a little bit. You know, I guess I should turn the light out too. That'll help actually get the green water cleared up. But like up here, I don't want the green water cleared up because it's a great first fry food. And also down low here, all this little mulm, people always go, your render tank's so dirty. These guys would die without it. So, you know, in my opinion, right on. So now I'm gonna get back to some of the other tanks, but just wanted to chime in doing that. Still draining water over there, and yeah, so back to work. Well, I've been watching KG Tropical's live stream, been changing water while I do it, and just waiting for this 300 gallons of water to be used up efficiently, because I don't want to just drain it, like that's a waste of water. But I think that's all I'm going to get done today, which, don't worry, there's more days, so there's more coming after this, you know, but for me it'll be a different day. And here's how I know it's time to stop. When the sun starts coming into the fish room like this, the sun is setting for me, and so it's already 7 o'clock. And I still have to edit a video that comes out tomorrow. Well, actually it's edited. I have to get it ready to go. So, you know, I'm just waiting for this last little bit of water in this tote to finish so that on Saturday, hopefully all I can do is pull this thing out of the way, run that drain pipe around the corner here, and then boom, get started having some fun. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. And, you know, there's always things. Like Saturday I gotta go to the airport, I gotta deliver stuff to the store, I gotta pick up that 135 gallon tank, and that's still 2 days away. So like I could add way more stuff onto that still, but that's the plan at this point. Working in the fish room between the live streams, here's what I got done so far. I put in a bathroom fan, and it's one that runs silent, and it also detects humidity. So we're gonna test that out. And it's blowing right now because basically the problem is this. This thing over here uses 750 watts to run, costs me about 50 bucks a month, and it's starting to act up a little bit. Yeah, I could fix it and get it going again, but I'm like, okay, maybe I need a better way to do this. So now what I'm trying is the bathroom fan venting out, because I haven't had the dehumidifier running for couple days because I've been trying to put this together. And here's my humidity right here, 75%, way too much in here. Normally I'm running it down around 40. And so I'm hoping over the next few hours that will do it, you know. So it's 80 cubic feet per minute. It's blowing pretty good outside, honestly. Like it's moving a lot of flow. My worries are this: the air always has to come from somewhere, and so it's going to come in from outside, right? Like that's fine. But in colder climates, I'm a little bit apprehensive. But in the warmer climate, because the other thing is that 750 watt dehumidifier makes a ton of heat, and when it's already hot out, that's a problem. Like right now, that wasn't on. We're 77 degrees in here. By the end of the day, we'll be 81. If that thing is on, we might hit 86. And so now I'm venting some out, and I'm gonna have to play with the right humidity percentage and things like that. But you know, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. The next thing up for the to-do list is I think I've got all the supplies to play with this tank. So now I just gotta, you know, start working on it, and I'm gonna start filming that once I get the tripod set up. Well, today is the day. Haven't shaved. It's like 10 a.m. Getting an early start because today is the first day of like the heat advisory here, which, you know, in Washington we haven't had any of that. I know the rest of the country pretty much has, but crazy hot. And when I say crazy hot, okay, it's not that hot, but it's only gonna be like mid-90s today. The problem is in Washington, like no one has air conditioning. So yeah, like in my fish room right now, I've had the window open and been venting as much air as I can. It's only 77 degrees. Lots of humidity because I turned off the dehumidifier so that I could, you know, cool it down in here. But it's gonna get ridiculous in here. And because I think last night, which there wasn't a heat advisory for yesterday, I think it was like 86 in here. So I'm gonna do what I can to keep temp down as I work, because in the middle of winter, for instance, when it's only 77 degrees in here, it's still unbearably hot when I'm building racks, and that's what I'm doing today. So the goal today is get that set up. I've taken more time off work so I can make sure this project happens, because I feel like it's a big piece of the puzzle. And the reason I've got to do it is one, I already scheduled to do it like a week ago, so there's that. But then my red slider outside got visited by raccoons, and they were just eating water hyacinths and stuff out of the other pond, but they tore the screen top up. And what that did was it made it so the turtle could get out. So, you know, I'll cut to like a picture or a video or something of the turtle like up almost out of the tote. And so it was almost like, oh man, lost turtle, gotta go find it. You know, my yard's fenced and all that, but you know, you don't want to have to go find a turtle, you know, before you go to work. So it just made it so like, all right, I really need to get this project because I have all the parts. There it is, a corner I haven't seen in a long, long time. So now we can see I've got to connect to this drain. We got to shoot around the corner, and we're gonna have to come all the way, you know, basically to the end here. So that's what I'm going to work on right now, because I can't really put any racks in place or anything like that until I got that done. Hopefully it'll go quick. I got to find the supplies, but on to the project. Here we are. First rack is kind of in place. Got the pipe run. Keeps its slope the whole way, so it has to go up by about an inch when it hits that corner, and by the time it reaches over to here, we've raised it 2 inches. And that puts the top of that pipe at 25 inches. Now that does pose a problem because it gets higher the more you go, right? And so, you know, once we get over to this area, it could be very difficult, honestly. It could be very difficult to put tanks on the bottom row onto the drain system. And that's the problem you run into whenever you're running long pieces of pipe to get that drain slope. And that's kind of why in the middle of the room, I only ever had like 12-foot runs, and then it ran that way. It kept it low enough. Now, obviously, these racks I custom built, you know, with cinder blocks, and there's a reason why they start at a certain height and only too high. Over here, we can have a tank really low and then a tank middle, which is great, and then a tank really high, which I'm not thrilled about. But it can technically be done. But you know, it's not optimal. But I still gotta get in here and I gotta basically plumb some air lines. I need to install a power strip. I still need to drill tanks and paint tanks and do all those things. I need to get the other rack in here. Probably need to move like that little rack, the fridge, move some stuff in the garage so I can get that out, then get the other rack in. There's all these things that are gonna have to happen here that not looking forward to, but you know, at least getting that piping in is a big help, because even if I get lazy and just put a tank in for the turtle, groundwork has been laid. Now I still have to do some leveling. This stand, when I bought it, unfortunately, when they welded it, it's not welded completely true, so you can see there's a little bit of movement there, and so I need to shim it up. Basically, there's about a 1/4 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch down on one leg I need to shim up to get it to sit true. So that's another hardware store run, because yeah, you're thinking, oh yeah, just use a piece of wood or something like that. Well, over time in a fish room, that's going to get wet and it's going to swell and deteriorate and rot, so you want to use like plastic or acrylic. Maybe I've got some acrylic around or something I can use, but I need to be strategic in how I shim that. So back to work for me. You can probably see I'm already red in the face. I wonder what temp it is in here right now. Let's take a look. Still only 77, so I've just been working hard, that's all, but it's still early. It's only like noon or something, so back to work for me. Always a snafu. Ugh. So I bought this tank based on the dimensions that it was 24 inches tall. It's only 22 inches tall, and you know, it's my bad for not measuring it. I'm still happy with the tank. I can still totally use it. The problem is, it's not going to work for the turtle tank, I don't think. And the reason being, one, even if it was 2 inches higher, it's going to close this gap by 2 inches, which, you know, doesn't leave me a whole lot of room to work. But even with the pipe right here, the problem is, like, even with 2 more inches, it's not going to be that much space to bask. And so, you know, this might just have to become a discus tank, or maybe it's a tank for a doe by grow out, or, you know, I don't know what it is, but, you know, it's got to be something different than it is. That's what I do know. So yeah, it's, you know, things change. You're building the fish room, even though the tank fits perfect on the rack. That's fine. I think the next step is drilling it, painting the back of it. In theory, I should drill some more glass tanks so I can put those there. I mean, there's lots of things to do, and it's getting hotter and hotter. But yeah, back to work for me. And that, my friends, is how we drill a hole through glass. So I'm going to put a link like right here. That'll go to that video on how I do that. But you know, one hole down, a few more to go. You know, at least, so I guess at least 3 more on glass and 1 more on acrylic at least. But the reason I have to do these is, you know, I was getting ahead of myself and I wanted to set that turtle tank up, but I know I have to do it top to bottom, because when you want to access and drill the drains, you want to do that from above. So you do these 2 tanks, get them plumbed in, then you do these 2 tanks, get them plumbed in, then you put the bottom tank in, because that, you know, doesn't block access to the rest. So, you know, getting ahead of myself again, but, you know, drilling more tanks. Alright, it's like 4, maybe 4:30 at this point. Tanks are drilled back here. All these ones actually happen to be painted, so I'm going to save some of the work for another day. And if I paint that one, if I'm going to get a roller wet, I may as well paint the other ones I'm going to need to paint. And what I'm trying to decide is, when I move the next rack in here, do I want more 125s? That's actually a 135. Well, it was sold to me as a 135. It's actually a 125. But I'm trying to decide, do I want to do like a couple more of these, like on the rack that goes right here, or do I just want more 40s? It's the eternal question for me of like, oh man, do I want to import more fish, or do I want to breed more fish? Like, I don't know. But, so let me show you what I got to do now. This is not my favorite time. But in theory, I gotta move this fridge, at least out of the way temporarily, so that this tote can go through these double doors. And through the double doors, then I can get this out, and then I'm gonna drag it like all the way across my yard, and I wanna put it into that room because I have double doors on that wall, but not here. So that's one object I wanna get done. Then the next thing I wanna get done, come out here, this fridge I have to haul away, this is my old fridge. But the next project would be in here, where I've already moved a bunch of tanks because we're drilling them. That's what was right here before, blocking me. That stand right there, that stand with acrylic tanks on it, that needs to go into the other room and match the other one. That one's gonna take my wife to help me, and that'll be never-ending pain on my part as it's really heavy, and you know, I'll owe her favors and stuff like that. And she already helped me move that other tank, and every time she helps me move a tank, apparently it's another carrot, so to speak. So apparently I owe her some giant diamond ring that I don't even know how many carats are up to. I think it's like 18 carats or something. It's never gonna happen though. But yeah, so that's what I gotta do. I gotta move that tote, move the refrigerator, get these doors open, move that other one, and then put stuff back away. So that's what I'm working on. It's just, I've only been working for like 6 hours, but this heat is brutal. Like it's really hot out here. In the fish room, it's only 82 at the moment, so I've been keeping good airflow going through here to keep it cool. But you know, that only helps so much. 82 degrees when you're moving stuff that's really heavy is still not that cool. So I could talk about it all day, or I could do it. So I'm going to choose to start doing it. I don't know if I showed this off yet, or at least without green water being in here, but I have Convict fry, which is awesome because I can turn them in for breeder points for my local club. I've bred them at stores that I've worked at and stuff like that a billion times, but I've never intentionally bred them, and I only count spawns if I intentionally breed them. So you can just see, you know, lots of Convict fry, feeding on the sponge filter and stuff as well. You know, you can kind of see big bellies eating lots. But yeah, I mean, once I kind of raise these ones up a little bit, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but yeah. And then just a quick look at the algae-filled tank up here full of discus. Yep, got to put a tank together for them. Just been feeding them and quarantining them, and so far they all seem to be doing well. I picked up 8. There's one that's kind of like a turquoise. The rest are like snakeskinish. But with all this algae in the way, that doesn't really help. So I'm not gonna show it anymore. Alright, it's almost 6 o'clock. I'm hungry. It's 84 degrees in here, and I've got everything I needed to get done today, you know, needed. Like I need any of this really, but you know, I've got everything I kind of wanted to get done today. I've got both racks installed. You know, they're ready for me just to put tanks on them, and so, you know, this, I think in another day or two, it depends on how hard I want to work in a day, but this is another 600 gallons roughly that are kind of ready to go online without too much work. You know, I've got drilled, these are all painted already, I just need to paint the big one, and then I need to drill 4 more tanks and paint them, and then I kind of want to track down another 125 to match, so I have 2 big tanks down low because the pipe itself is pretty high. So yeah, and so I told my wife about that carrot story, and she said, you better tell them it doesn't have to be diamonds. I don't want to look, you know, like I have to have expensive things. So, and then I had to clarify, she says we're only at 8.5 carats at the moment, so okay. But anyway, you know, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and don't forget, live streams on Sunday.